Welcome to Season 3 of the Amani Experience podcast. In this podcast, you will experience wisdom, advice, and stories from creatives all over the world. Your host is the award-winning Amani Roberts, who is a DJ, music producer, professor, author, and undercover gamer. On the show, we love to share the stories of creative professionals, especially people who have gone from the corporate life to the creative life. Once again, welcome to the Amani Experience podcast.
Welcome. I would like to welcome John Hawley to the Amani Experience podcast. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We are excited to have you. We always do a geographical check-in at the beginning. I'm here right outside Los Angeles in Redondo Beach. Where are you right now?
Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Virginia, 757 in the house.
That's right.
Yes. And where did you grow up?
757. My daughter will go to the same elementary school I went to.
Oh, that's great. That's very cool. And then you went from Virginia Beach kind of over to Virginia Tech for school, correct?
That's right. Yep.
And what was your major at Virginia Tech?
Building construction.
Ah, okay. So tell us, first of all, you are classified and you could describe yourself as a master facilitator. What's the definition of a master facilitator?
The best definition I have is someone that can use all the tools at their disposal to get to the outcome that they want to get to with the dynamics of different people and resources and whatnot. So it's like the MacGyver of facilitation. You just use all the tools to get out of any situation type of thing.
Nice 80s TV show reference. Okay, I like it. Yeah, cool. Growing up and kind of when you were a young adult, I understand you had a fear of public speaking. How did you get over that fear of public speaking?
Oh, that was rough. I actually took summer school at Virginia Tech just to do public speaking so I wouldn't fail it in a technical major, which was rough. Honestly, getting over it, I think just like anything else, repetition, I did it enough times where, I kind of just black out when it happens. And apparently I'm decent at it. So, I got the feedback and just kept running with it.
How do you assist people that you work with that have like a huge trepidation towards speaking in public, whether it be small group breakouts or in front of large crowds?
Yeah, that's... you're dealing with a massive array of different folks. And I think the thing that you can do more than anything is create a safe environment. So whether they speak up just like somebody else does, or they have their own way of communicating, you kind of have to feel that out. And, there's might be written, there's might be voting there, everybody's got their own thing and you kind of just have to play it by ear type of thing.
Good advice. Now, how would you summarize yourself where you are right now in kind of life, business in 30 seconds or less?
All right, I'll give you a complete random assortment of things. This is me as a human being. My business card says husband, father, coach, facilitator, in that order. I can ride a unicycle and juggle. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. Was in the Navy for 11 years. I've been out of for the last 3. I facilitate offsites and retreats and do virtual teaming and strategy. And I can sing the French national anthem in French, but I don't know French.
Oh, that's a great fun fact. I love it. I love it. When you were in the Navy, if you could think back to your 11 years, what were maybe the top 2 or 3 most valuable lessons you learned while in the Navy?
I think my favorite one is everybody is on a ladder, okay? And everyone's holding on, and your job as a leader is to make sure, not necessarily that everybody gets to the same bar and the same ladder rung that they're holding on to, but your job is to make sure that they don't fall down a peg on that ladder. That resonated with me in a big way. I've been spreading that as much as humanly possible. The other one I would say, if I had to give 2, would be that you can accomplish. You hear this all the time, but you can really, truly accomplish anything as long as you absolutely care about it and you're devoted and you got the will to make it happen, for sure.
How do you apply lesson number 1 in terms of catching people and preventing them from falling in your normal business and day-to-day life?
It's using their strengths for your scenario. And so finding out what their strengths are, and how they kind of interlace with other people, I think is a huge thing. And so keeping them on their ladder rung, it's not talking below them, not talking above them, but actively listening with them and finding out, what they think the situation's about, what they think the outcome's going to be, and kind of how they're going to get there.
Excellent. We have a shout out from Vaughn, who introduced us. She's here watching. What's up? How are we doing? In your opinion, because I view what you do as very creative, what I do is very creative as a DJ, what's important for creative professionals such as yourself and myself to succeed in today's business environment?
I've done a whole bunch of webinars and interviews for a bunch of people, and the advice not advice, but the kind of the pre-game show where they're talking to me, nobody knows what they're doing. I mean, people that know what they're doing still don't know what they're doing. And so I guess the best advice I'd have on that one is you got to do your own thing. You have to find your own path. You have to figure out what works for your personality, because even if you're in the same boat as somebody else attempting to accomplish the same thing, you're a different person, and you got to play to your own strengths to be able to get there.
What inspired and drove you to first kind of leave the Navy and then pursue a more entrepreneur career, and a career that might not be as stable as you were used to?
I'd say back in 2012, being a nuclear surface warfare officer, realized that I wasn't having fun. It was the opposite of my personality. I didn't feel like I had the impact that I wanted to have, and just realized I'd rather fail at something that I know I love and enjoy than be successful in something that I just could care less about. No offense to anybody else in that arena, but it just wasn't me. Not my personality. I like being around people. I like being creative. I like to get the most out of everybody in any situation, and nuclear power is not one of them.
Not very creative, I would think. No. When you look at your career, when do you think was the turning point? You're like, aha, this is what I'm here to do, and I'm all in.
So I ended up getting in a little bit of trouble. It was a mistake that I made, and as one of my punishments, I had to give training to about 450 people. And so a guy that doesn't like to do public speaking addresses 400 and something people. And so I way over prepared. I mean, I studied the material like 7 ways from Sunday. I made sure I had good jokes and lively interaction with people, made it dynamic, and got to the end of it. And it was supposed to be like this, punishment, right? And you get to the end, and these people are coming up to you, and they're like, you did such a great job. That was the best training I've ever been to. And I was like, holy crap, there might be something here. I might be able to do this for other stuff. So that's definitely it.
Okay. When you think back to that time, how were you able to then take that moment, have the courage to really kind of keep going and pursue it and really kind of go out on your own?
Mistake. It was an accident. I ended up getting, or dumb luck, I got appendicitis. And it was the forcing function I had a great boss at the time, and I showed up for work the day after surgery, and he got upset. He kicked me out, and he was like, no emails, no phone calls, no work, nothing for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I finally, for the first time, had dedicated nothingness, time to actually think and create and do. And in that time, I kind of took all the lessons learned from all these courses, a couple dozen courses I had taken at that point in strategic thinking and critical thinking, like all this stuff, and created. And that was it. I don't think if I didn't have appendicitis, you and I wouldn't be talking today. Nope.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's good. Very compelling. Why do you love what you do?
I mean, the people are always different. The challenges that they face there's some element of it that is new and different. The resources that they have to deal with are either more or less constrained than the other ones. It's never the same. I mean, you could have the same type of approach, but it's never the same. The dynamic nature of what I do it's always keeps me on my toes. It's like I'm always doing it for the first time ever. So I'm just always like ready for the contingency number 1, 2, 3, 10. And above all, working with people that it's just when they see a surprised look, when they have a surprised look on their face for either what they've accomplished or their teams because of what you were able to do, it's like, I can pat myself on the back when I'm done. I'm like, I've done my part here,
Yeah. What kind of advice do you give younger professionals who look up to you and are like, I want to be a master facilitator as well, and they might just now be starting their professional career?
So I got advice probably 4 or 5 years ago. Great mentor by the name of Brandon Hart, and I was talking to him about like what I wanted to do and why and all this stuff, and he had a very blunt conversation with me. He said, if you're going to do something, and this sounds so obvious, it does, but it's not that obvious until you're facing it yourself. He said, great. Are you number 1 in that right now? And I was like, no, definitely not. And he was like, are you going to try to be number 1? And I was like, I mean, I'm going to try my best to do well. And he was like, then don't do it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, this is what I want to do. I'm happy doing it. And, I want to make a difference, all the things that you say. And he was like, if you're not going to set out to be the absolute best of what you do, he's like, don't even bother. And so he said, everything that you ever do, you have to do it as if it is the stepping stone to the next best thing to make you the guy or gal that everyone calls when they have a problem doing X, Y, or Z. And I took that advice and ran with it. So that was a long-winded answer of saying, if you're trying to do something like this, like, do it to be better than me, do it to be better than IDEO and Stanford, and do it to be the absolute best.
Agreed. Great advice. That was good advice from your colleague there, friend. On the flip side, what is something that scares you?
So I got a couple of
Go ahead.
This has nothing to do with business at all, but so I can grab spiders and snakes, and I can do death-defying, things, and jump out of planes, but cockroaches and mice and rats are like my absolute kryptonite. Like, if they're anywhere near your house, or I've got to like cross them to get to you, like, forget it, not happening. I'd say if I gave you a serious one, and I don't know if this is probably over the last year. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I would say she's doing stuff now that is like, to me, very daredevilish, like going super fast on a bicycle at 2 years old with no training wheels. And I'm scared she's going to get hurt. And I don't mean just like physically hurt, but like everything, you're just like I don't know if it's the helicopter parent thing. It's like, I want her to fall so she understands what it means, so she can get back up and keep going. But like, I don't want her to fall.
Yeah. That's 2 great answers. Like, I can definitely relate on both, with for sure, get a mice or a rat around me, I'm going the other way. So that's real life there. Now, the industry that you're in, the facilitation industry, kind of speaking, is very crowded. How do you rise above the noise and distinguish yourself from the competition?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess you got to make your noise probably sound a little bit more like music. So it's not just a bunch of random stuff over here. And I mean, I got to keep doing what I know is right, working towards the impact that I know that I can achieve. And my clients know that, I know it. This sounds strange, but I want to keep joking around and having fun. And the people that understand that actually leads to results, I might as well just keep doing it, right? So finally, I guess if I had to add to that, it would be like to not stop trying to get better, like to always feel like I'm on my toes to get to the next level and the next level. And if I related it to the MacGyver thing, it would be like, what's the next tool that I need to learn so that if I'm ever trapped in a shed by myself and you walk away, like I'm getting out of that shed somehow, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. You previously spoke about how you worry a little bit about your daughter, like driving fast and like falling and then getting back up, which is a good segue for how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours?
Yeah, I absolutely do. So I got asked to do a workshop the night before, like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, the night before we were going to provide it. And I came up with a bunch of, like I do, like spaghetti at the wall, like here are some ideas, and I'm just throwing it out, and they're like, why don't you do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. That sounds great. I've already done several hundred events. Like, what could go wrong? And I did it with an audience that I didn't appreciate where they were coming from. I didn't have enough time. That's my excuse, which is a terrible one. I didn't ask questions. I should have. I should have asked them what their intended output was and connect the dots between where they were and where they wanted to go and how they were going to get there, like how you do every workshop.
Right.
Ever. And I didn't do it for this audience, and it was a total and complete disaster. I mean, like, I'm having them do stuff and their eyes are rolling and things are happening, and I just couldn't figure it out. I'm looking around and I'm like, I understand people really well and team dynamics, and nothing I'm doing is changing anything. So I stopped everybody cold, brought everybody in a big circle, and I just told them. I told them exactly what was on my mind. I was like, hey, I'm confused. I think I probably missed the mark here. I definitely did. From my heart of hearts, I'm attempting to get to X. And I said that, and they were like, oh, we didn't know that. And once we connected the dots there, a long-winded answer short, I would say being honest and transparent and blunt and vulnerable with the people that you're working with is crucial. I mean, I could have just kept going and just talked it off as a loss and been like, they stunk, like they didn't understand me or my personality. But instead, like, creating a safe space by being vulnerable yourself, huge lesson for me that I will take forward in everything that I do. It's just like, be honest with everybody. Everyone wants to deal with another human being, not a robot, so.
Yeah. Speaking of lessons, what do you think are the most important or the best characteristics that some of the top facilitators have that you try to emulate?
Ooh, that's good. I think the best thing that you could ever do in a workshop, no matter what you're working on, is be so dynamic and so diverse that it never looks like you are making it up as you go along. It's so smooth that everyone's like, yeah, like they just had that thing nailed down and whatnot. And it's pretty difficult to be able to, call an audible several times in the middle of something and have folks not understand what just happened and not care because everything means something and they're getting towards this, the end of the road type of thing. So that's definitely one of them. The other one is, the people that, and I think I do a good job at this, but it's constantly on my mind. And I think I only do well at it because I set myself reminders for it. Like during lunch, I'll have something pop up on my phone that's like, John, don't forget to smile, man. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. This should be fun,
Yeah.
Those people that they just look like there is not a second that goes by that they are not in full on acting mode or whatever you want to call it, where they're in it. They're in the zone. I mean, the best way to relate that is if you've ever been to like a Disney show, like a live Disney show,
right?
You watch the cast members where you see them and you're like, there's no way they know I can see them. And they're still in character. You're like in character the whole way through because they genuinely care, have a smile on their face. Like that's the thing that you want to emulate, I think.
Yeah, great. I feel like we're right now we're having a master class in facilitation. So keep sharing. I'm loving it. You've had a lot of success. You've received a fair share of acclaim. On the flip side, you do acquire more critics or haters, as we call them. How do you handle your critics?
Yeah. So Jay-Z, I don't know if I look like I would, he's my favorite artist of all time. And he's got a quote that says, a wise man once told me, don't argue with fools, something like that, because people from a distance can't tell who's who.
Can't tell the difference, yes.
So I would say I don't get involved. I mean, you can tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. You can claim that you have the golden ticket and that your way is the best way, and that's fine. Maybe that works for your personality. It doesn't work for mine. And I'm not going to get involved because the people that know me know that I'm true at heart. I actually care about what I'm working on, and I'm not going to step on other people's toes. So, I think the proof is in the impact that you have. So I try to live up to my promise to my clients and my promise to myself, to be genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite Jay-Z song since you mentioned him?
Oh, okay. You Belong to the City I could probably listen to that on repeat for the whole day.
Okay. Great choice. Tell us about the darkest time in your life, how you got through that, and what did you learn from that experience?
Oh God, I'm going to have to take a glass of water before.
You can take a pause for the cause if you like.
Here we go. Okay. So the absolute darkest point in my existence was nuclear power school. It was mentally draining, physically draining. You're putting in like 14 hours of studying in like physics and calculus and nuclear. I mean, I don't even, it hurts me just to talk about this right now, just because of how hard it was for me. And if I could put it into perspective, you show up and you go to a 5-day, Monday through Friday, you do preschool, and then they give you the weekend, 5 days in a weekend. They give you 9 days to move in, get accommodated, and then start real school. And in those 5 days, you do 2 semesters of calculus and 2 semesters of physics in 5 days. Oof. And you're supposed to know it. And I spent on average 13 or 14 hours a day for all 9 days, Saturday, Sunday, weeks, Friday, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just to learn the preschool material. So if that sets the stage, I was in complete misery, 20 some odd 2 to 3 hour tests. The final was like a 9-hour exam. And I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know how I got through it.
Right.
And it might have been a combination of, you could say will and grit and determination and, you could say all that. And maybe that's true. I'm not proud of this answer, but it might have just been because I was too proud to tell people that I failed.
Yeah. And
so I didn't want to get to the other side unless I knew that I did everything humanly possible to make it to the other end. And so as crappy as it might sound, maybe out of fear that I pass, I don't know.
Yeah. If you were presented the opportunity to go back in time and do that experience, like have that experience again, would you choose something different, or would you still want to go through that?
You could probably take both sides of the fence on that one. On one side of the coin, you could say, you couldn't pay me enough money on earth to sit through that experience again, ever. No way. But on the other side of the coin, you could say, I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't go through that experience. Yeah. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't. I wouldn't have the lessons, and it's strange too, because I've never actually said this out loud, so hopefully this doesn't come across the wrong way. I think it gives me a level of credibility in what I do, that if I am goofy and I'm laughing and joking and I'm making fun of myself in front of a group of people, if they know that about me, they're like, there has to be a method to the madness. There's something here that I might not understand in the moment, but we're leading towards something. and I just don't know what it is yet. And if not, I'm not exactly sure. I think, knowing that I made it through it, I think is probably enough for me. I would never want to go back, I don't think.
Good answer. Good answer. Who is the most influential person for you growing up?
So my, this is weird if he's listening to this right now. I don't know. I get it all emotional on you. So my brother, my probably entire life, I followed him. I tried to make his friends my friends. At second, third, fourth grade, always trying. He's 3 years older than me, so I'm like always playing a level up. And then since I went to kindergarten twice and failed hooked on phonics twice, I'm like a bigger gap, of who he is and whatnot. But he's the most even-keeled guy I have ever met in my life. And I'll get spun up on things that he's dealing with that he doesn't even care about. And it's like, it just seems like you have a lot less stress, a lot more easygoing, just goes with the flow. It's just happy-go-lucky, I don't know, my brother.
There you go. We're going to find your brother, send him this interview so he can hear what you said. What can you tell us about the one family friend you had who you've known since the 5th grade that really became your biggest role model?
Whoa. Okay. 5th grade. Where was I? It's here. Okay. I got one. Brad Kennedy. Although I think I was in 4th grade with him. So does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Okay. So without giving too much away on your side, I'll just say what I gained from him as opposed to what led that there, if that's okay.
Sure.
Being dynamic enough to pivot when you need to pivot and kind of doing what's right by yourself as opposed to going with somebody else's flow. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I'm following you exactly. Yes.
I don't want to, that's not for me to say on the other side.
Yeah. Good. What do you find easy to do that your friends find hard to do?
I think I can put action to something a lot faster than most people. And it's like right, wrong, or indifferent. It's like an example. If I'm going to go and build here's a perfect example. I went to go build a deck in my backyard, right? Mm-hmm. And the existing deck was there. And instead of planning how I was going to do it and the resources I would need and like all that stuff, I went out with a crowbar and I just tore apart enough of the center of the existing deck that I couldn't go back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I destroyed it, and then I sat there and I looked at it, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this thing, and tear it apart, put it all back together, and figure out how it's done. I have a similar thing that my wife and I do every once in a while, where we'll be sitting there with a paycheck, and we'll just randomly just put it into savings where we can't touch it anymore, and we're like, crap. Now we can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
There's a difference between planning and just going with the flow. So long-winded answer.
Yeah. Well, but great answer. Explain to us, I know in the past you had a really large desire to work with Google. Why is that the case? Do you still have a desire to work with them? Because they're right up the street from us here. So let me know.
Yeah. So the desire, I think, came from the culture, right? People that are energized about what they do, they care about what other people are working on. It's like improv. Make your partner look good. They're going to make you look good. So together you guys can accomplish something you otherwise wouldn't. I think they embody that pretty well, very well.
Agreed.
And the second part of that question was, would I work for them? I would love to do what I do for them. But now that I've found my mold, I'm not sure that I would try to fit into something that's not me.
Yeah.
I think my workshops and strategy and team building could definitely be leveraged there. That would be impactful for them, but I couldn't see myself doing anything other than what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, I agree. Love it. Love it. What would you like to be better at?
Unplugging. Let it go. I'm the worst at it. I was just telling you, I'm gonna spend about a week on phone on do not disturb, get rid of the email app and LinkedIn and all that stuff, and just 100% unplug 7 days. So you're literally my last interaction with other human beings until that happens tomorrow. So
Okay.
it's a forcing function. I'm the worst. I'm so bad at it. I just need to learn to let my brain stop thinking. And, there's been a lot of mindfulness and meditation things from a lot of really good friends of mine that have helped me through testing new things. And they definitely help. I just am who I am. I just constantly think, never stop.
Yeah. Well, this weekend will be upcoming week will be a good test for you. So we'll have to check in with you in, like 8 days or so, see how it went.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, when you were 21, you were still in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Public math. I was somewhere. Yeah.
We're going to go talk to John, 21-year-old John, give him advice based on what you know now. What advice would you give your younger self?
Okay, so this advice is probably opposing advice. So you have to choose, okay? The things that I thought that were important then weren't or aren't, and the things that I didn't think were important or valuable then are or were, or you know what I'm saying?
Yes. If you could give us, I love that answer, first of all. If you could give us an example of one thing you thought was important but wasn't, and maybe one thing which you didn't feel was important but was, what comes to mind?
The thing that I probably didn't think was important was not just networking, but like meaningful networking. Like I can meet people all day long. I can talk to a brick wall. That doesn't do anybody any good unless they're actively listening to me, I'm actively listening to them, and there's some sort of like follow-up, So networking, like true, meaningful networking, and then like really keeping in touch with those people and not letting it go. I think I probably lost a lot of people along the way through the Navy that I didn't need to. And I surely could reach out and rekindle those things. And, I definitely have for a few people, but it's a lot easier to maintain than to go back. Right. It's like not painting a ship,
Yeah.
You're rusty. It's now you're dealing with a whole nother issue.
Okay.
Okay. So another example would be like specific grades as opposed to actually understanding what the material was. Like I got good grades. I was probably top 10% I was top 10% of my major.
Okay.
But I bet you my level of understanding was, is it okay to admit this? Can I do this right now?
You can do whatever you want. Yes, you can do whatever you want.
I think my level of understanding was probably bottom 10%, which sounds abysmal. And it's probably not that crazy. I mean, I did understand certain things, but if I was there to learn to understand as opposed to just learning for the numerical grade, I think I'd be a lot better off for sure.
Interesting. Excellent answer. Wow. What is the one lesson in life that took you the longest to learn?
I think, I don't want to keep going back to the Navy and, nuclear power, but I'm still learning this one, by the way. This is a constant thing for me, that when you get to a roadblock, like you can go under it, around it, through it, you can phone a friend and, get a boost. You can pretty much always make it through your situation as long as you know what the silver linings are of your situation. You may not be able to get exactly what you want out of something like that, but to know that with the right amount of care and hard work, I think you could probably accomplish anything, within reason, obviously. Yeah.
All right. Every great person has a sentence. What is your sentence? For example, my sentence is I love to help people unlock their creativity by teaching them how to DJ. What is your sentence?
I guess he creates confidence so others can build.
Great, great. Very succinct. What is one new habit you've added to your daily routine in the past year or so that has been most beneficial?
My wife and I started doing these morning workouts virtually.
Okay.
They're kicking my butt, and I'm doing them with my wife. So it's a whole nother level of vulnerability when she's doing way more than me, and I'm just like, all right, baby steps over here.
Yes, yes. I admire your vulnerability with the wife, with the wife. So we're really big readers here on the podcast. If there was 1, 2, or 3 books you feel people should stop what they're doing right now and start to read them immediately, what books come to mind?
David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me is a really, really good one. And I would actually recommend not reading it. I know that sounds weird. I'd recommend the Audible.
Yes.
Because what they ended up doing, do you care if I give this?
Go ahead. Yeah, go.
I don't take too much time, but so they did it in real time. So you got a guy who is, the people that are tough as nails look like complete and total, weaklings compared to him. He's unique amongst the unique type of guy. And so for 3 days, they film the thing live, audio. So they come into the studio, and by the time they come in at 6 a.m., he's already run something like 30 miles that day. Everything is proven by factual things, and the cool part about the audio is if he says something that's really cool that's in the book, the guy that's actually reading it will actually unmute him, who's in the booth next to him, and he'll be like, hey, the book says this, but can you give me more? Like, tell me more. And so you get like a lot of nuggets that you would otherwise not get. And I mean, that's not the reason why people should listen to it, but he just has such a unique story. He gets you to reflect on your story exactly in tandem. So it's not time lost. You're actually reflecting the whole time. And I think his storytelling is just epic. There's some other ones, but if I give other ones, then people aren't going to think this one's that valuable. So I'm sticking with one.
That is an excellent choice. He's a beast. I've seen him on many different interviews, podcasts. And so I've been looking for the next audio book to listen to. And you just kind of made it a compelling case. I'm ready because he is amazing. Like he has been through it, and he's just very open and honest about his feelings. And it's just refreshing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
What has been the best advice you have ever received?
Oh, can it be an answer I already told you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it was the one from Brandon Hart. I think which was essentially, if you're going to try something, don't try it unless you are going to try it to be the best. That I probably should call him and tell him that it's actually that meaningful to me, because I don't know if he actually knows that. So I should probably do that.
Call him when you get back in like 8 days after you've had a chance to kind of sit on it. So I love it. Sure. Now, if John is coming to the stage, what's your favorite sports team? You have a favorite sports team?
Is this so bad that I'm abysmal with sports? I love going to the sporting events, but I'd say I'll follow my wife's sports team. So she's got like the Steelers, and I grew up in San Diego, so maybe the Padres for baseball. But
so we'll say, let's do this. We'll say you're coming. What's the name of the stadium at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg? What's the kind of name of the stadium there?
Lane Stadium.
Okay, so you're walking.
God, I didn't forget that one on live. Gosh.
You're walking out to the field, Lane Stadium. They say John is coming to the field. What song is playing as you make your way to the stage?
Oh my gosh, it's like we planned this. You set this up perfectly. I wouldn't go on Lane Stadium without Enter Sandman. It's perfect.
There you go. Love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Let the people know the best way to find you. I kind of put on a ticker, I put your LinkedIn profile, but how can people find you online, learn more about what you do for work and all those things? Okay.
Primary would be LinkedIn. And I have a really long middle name, but it's John Wakefield Hawley. Hawley is Hawley. that's the LinkedIn one. I'm a newbie on the Twitter sphere, so I do have a handle. It's Hollywood with 3 O's, but spelled Hawley, Hawley.
Got it.
And then I'm not really on much other things. So
yeah, but that's good. That's 2 great places to reach you. Just want to say before we conclude, thank you very much for appearing on the show. It's been a pleasure. Like I said earlier on, I knew it and it was right. Like a master class in facilitating, and definitely your perspective and stories just really resonate very quickly. So I'm just appreciate you being on the show. Look forward to hopefully collaborating in the future as we work through this virtual environment. And we let our guests take us home with any last minute words of wisdom or advice. So I'll say thank you again and allow you to take us home.
Yeah, I would say use the people that you've got to get the absolute most out of your situation. Don't make any decisions that you're doing right now without kind of making them feel like they're part of those decisions, and it'll make a massive difference for sure.
All right. Appreciate it. Oh, hold on. Let's see here.